The showdown is not meant to cause offense or harm. The viewer acknowledges any reliance on the accuracy or completeness of said content should be done at their own discretion. The host apologizes in advance for any affront as a result of personal attacks.
Showdown time. Bob Costas is here. When you're working for TBS, calling some games? What round?
Yeah, they're poaching two MLBN guys. Me and Ron Darling will do the Dodgers against either the Brewers or the Diamondbacks.
You're not poaching. You're living legends, you and Ron Darling.
Whatever it may be.
See how I butter him up and then going for the kill. All right, have you seen Cal Raleigh of the Mariners? They can make the playoffs playing a little GM. Here are his comments there. Talking about, like, we've got to commit to winning. We have to commit to going and getting those players to see other teams going out and getting big-time pitchers, big-time hitters. I'll just leave it at that. He's since apologized for bringing that up exactly, but what do you make of him thinking that way?
Well, he was upset last year when they dealt Paul Sewald, which is kind of a head-scratcher. They dealt him to the Diamondbacks
this year,
at the trade deadline.
2 years ago it was Kendall Graveman. This year was
you're
Sewald.
right.
Yes.
I stand corrected. Okay. And it might have affected him as it comes down to the end and the Mariners are still alive. He looks at the team they're playing on the last weekend, the Rangers. They went out and got a whole new middle infield with Corey Seager and Marcus Semien. They invested in DeGrom, even though he predictably wound up on the shelf. They acquired Scherzer and gave up prospects, and he, too, wound up on the shelf.
By the way, to tell Cal, this could be that's a losing way to build your team. It's an immediate burst. Look, and Semien and Seager were great, but if you watch this show, Cal, that's not the way to win. Actually, I like what the Mariners did. Look, Luis Castillo. Look, Robbie Ray has not worked out. That was big money. Teoscar Hernandez. Remember also, Eugenio Suarez has worked out. Jesse Winker came and went. So to get the big stars, that guarantees nothing.
Well, they got Robbie Ray coming off his Cy Young season, and he was so-so for them in his first year, and then this year he pitched in one game before going on the IL for the entire season. And as so often happens, a guy's best season isn't an indication of everything to come or even everything that preceded. His best season was his Cy Young season. It coincided with the end of his contract, and he cashed in.
Yeah, this is a day that could be Black Monday. You wonder who's getting fired, who's leaving. A lot of that happened already over the weekend in the past few days. We're waiting for something from the Padres, and a statement came out today. This is from Peter Seidler, their owner and chairman. And, Bob, I don't know what to make of this. Our current leadership team continues to have my full support, and I've asked them to perform a thorough assessment of our organization beginning today. We'll make the changes necessary to play championship caliber baseball for our extraordinary fans, et cetera, et cetera. So it seems, so everybody's staying? Is that what that's saying?
Does the current leadership team mean the front office, or does it include Bob Melvin?
Bob Melvin, A.J. Preller, right? Eric Grupner's the CEO.
Well, Preller would be part of that leadership team, you would think.
Yeah, so everybody's staying is what that is saying. Is that what that's saying?
Does it include Melvin? I mean, obviously, Melvin, like Showalter, doesn't have to make a case for himself. He's a terrific manager, always has been, multiple Manager of the Year recipient, but something is wrong with that team. They haven't come close to maximizing their potential, looking at their roster. And, something's got to change, but that's a very difficult statement to interpret.
Right. It's somewhat vague.
It's kind of a word salad.
In there. Now, also, look, I wonder, do the Padres get it? Right? Remember, they're a 500 team for the most part over the last 2 years since making the big trade for Juan Soto, and also they had Josh Bell and they had Drury bring in. Take a look at what Manny Machado said. I don't know if you saw his quote exactly.
I did.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he comes out and he says, "We did what we were supposed to do, but a little too late." No, you didn't. No, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. No, you didn't.
Here's a note from Manny. Everyone knows that the season is 162 games long. So it's not like, hey, we just kicked it in a bit too late. You had plenty of warning.
I think between their playoff success, which was real, they won 2 big rounds, they beat the Mets, they beat the Dodgers, that happened, and between this little late flurry, can you be fooled into thinking, hey, you know what? It just didn't work out. You roll the dice again, we'll come out, we'll win. I don't think this club wins.
It's not just that little spurt, because that can happen to a team that gets hot, sneaks into the playoffs, especially with the expanded playoff format, and they get hot. But when you look at that roster, you've got Machado, even though he can be irksome at times.
Yeah.
You've got Bogarts. You've got Tatis. Hassan Kim had a tremendous season. Yeah. Blake Snell is probably the National
great
League
performances
Cy Young
all
Award
over.
winner.
Yeah.
Josh Hader was terrific.
Okay. So what's wrong, Bob? So what happened, Bob?
So you can't attribute that to we got fooled by one late October run.
Right.
Look at their roster.
Yeah,
that's what has you scratching your head.
And yet they're not even close. Right. Yeah. I don't know if they understand. Something beyond that has happened. we'll see. Meantime, Malaise clubs. Padres were one of them.
Yeah.
There were 6 of them. And you know what? Bob, I did essays saying, hey, you know what? There was only one club that snapped out of the malaise, and that was the Mariners. They did win 88 games. But look at is there any explanation for all this? Like, White Sox didn't stun us. But I'm sorry, the Guardians were the team on the rise, the youngest team in the postseason last year. They disappointed. Cardinals, disastrous. White Sox, disastrous. Padres, given where they were going, an epic failure. Mets, an epic failure. How did this happen in this season?
Now, were the Cardinals actually fooled by going back to 21 and a 17-game winning streak that got them into the postseason?
They were good, though. Last year, they won 93 games.
Yeah, all right. And then last year, Pujols with the miraculous second-half push. Were they fooled a little bit? Were they fooled by the fact that they're in the Central Division, whatever it might be? It became obvious as the season played out that they didn't have any swing and miss pitchers. They weren't missing any bats.
Right. Didn't have enough starting pitching.
Right. Didn't have enough starting pitching. They have the makings of a team, especially in that division, that could bounce back. You've got Arenado, you've got Goldschmidt, you've got Jordan Walker, who looks like the real deal.
Right.
The young shortstop Wynn eventually will hit, but he definitely is a terrific fielder and base runner. And they got about a half dozen guys. They ought to keep Tommy Edman. He's a valuable guy. But they got about a half dozen guys that appear to be almost the same player. And about half of them can be traded for some pitching help.
Yeah, so all the things you're throwing in, it makes me think of the Moneyball line. I'll do a movie line again. It was like, if he's such a good hitter, how come he doesn't hit good? Right? If everybody's so good, how come you're no good?
Right.
That's what it comes down to. Oh, everybody's great. How come you're not great, though? You're done. All right. We'll
in the case of the Mets, you could say, Diaz goes out, Marte gets hurt. McNeil doesn't come close to his batting
Marte doesn't play. All right, then you're saying 15 guys underperform. Right, there's a problem there.
That happened.
It's malaise.
And Scherzer and Verlander didn't pitch up to expectations.
The bad air came down from Canada, and they couldn't breathe correctly.